Evacuate now before all evacuation routes are closed.
That was the most horrible feeling, just running out of options. I had a fridge tied to the front of the house to float in.
The water just kept rising and rising early Monday morning.
Our neighbours were on the roof. There were people down in the inner part of South Lismore across Casino Street that were in their cavities, not realising that as the water went up they couldn't get out of their cavities. So they were screaming and banging on the roof.
Eleonora and Kim knew they had to get out.
Our daughter texted us and said, go to the front of the house, stay at the window because there will be people at some stage in boats passing, and Eleonora went to the window and
screamed my head off when I saw a dinghy going past.
They were rescued, not by emergency services, but by a local in his boat.
This is where Mum and I were for 6 hours. I ended up standing on our kitchen bench and it was nearly up to my neck.
Going house to house, almost everyone has a remarkable story of how they were saved.
I call them the boat people. If it hadn't been for the boat people, there would be thousands dead in Lismore. I'm telling you now.
But not everybody made it out. And now that people are left to pick up the pieces, there is also time to reflect.
I rang emergency services at 5 a.m. and they said, leave your number and we will get back to you because the queue's too long. They called me at midnight that night after we'd been rescued, saying, do you still need help?
The response, or lack thereof, is now being scrutinised, and much attention is on the SES.
Last week I'd spoken in Parliament about our SES and I said how wonderful our volunteers are. I said they did need to be more resourced.
We'll go through it.
5 days after Monday's devastation, the Premier arrived in Lismore. Was there an absolute failure in our emergency response on that day?
I can't say that yet, but I will once I've been able to go through everything and make a determination. I'll be completely honest in relation to the situation, because if we're not honest about it, then we can't act on it and improve the situation that occurred.
Does the entire system need to be overhauled?
Well, I think that's almost certain.
While there will undoubtedly be an inquiry, there is a sense of urgency to respond to what is unfolding now.
The emotions, there's grief, it's anger now, we're angry and exhausted, so exhausted.
Narelle Bolton and her husband Matthew own a lawnmower and power tool business. Like every CBD shopfront, it went under. And as they start the clean-up, the city has been further crippled by a blocked highway, no power and serious supply issues.
We just feel like we're forgotten.
We have 2 supermarkets to cater for the whole region.
Yeah.
There's truckloads coming in every night. 100 people are allowed in the supermarket. They're sold out by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
There is no food.
Flooding in Ballina has caused similar problems, and people there have spent the week with very limited communication services. Outside of the cities, in smaller communities, the situation has been dire. Crucial infrastructure has been destroyed, the ground in some areas is unsafe, and they have been alone through it all.
We're okay. I've got really good friends, very good, loyal friends and family, so very, very lucky.
Corrakai is south of Lismore and has been cut off for most of the week. It is just one of dozens of places in the Northern Rivers that is in desperate need of help.
We need to get our town back up and running, and it's going to just take a lot of help, and the government needs to help us.
As a start, up to 5,000 ADF personnel are now being called upon to help clean up.
We call it boots on the ground, I don't mind, I just want to see khaki.
These floods have left thousands of people homeless. Just in Lismore, 1,000 homes have already been officially declared uninhabitable. Many are staying with friends and family, But there are 1,000 people in an evacuation centre with nowhere to go.
These people are incredibly vulnerable and they're just been through something horrific, and it's just, going from bad to worse for a lot of people.
What we need to do is not just use the hotels and the apartments that are available, but in addition to that, I want to make use of potential Airbnbs, and we're working very closely with them about potentially opening them up and working with the government on some financial support to do that.
The Premier is making big promises to provide funding for whatever is needed. So far, the only committed money is the disaster relief cash from the Commonwealth, and the state is offering farming and business grants.
$50,000, which is wonderful, but you have to spend it to get it. You have to produce your invoices. I don't understand that. Who's got $50,000 left after all of this?
There is no plan yet for how this massive recovery will work. It was just a few weeks ago that the Premier acknowledged, 2 years on from another devastating disaster, the Black Summer bushfires on the south coast, that so many people there felt abandoned by the government. So while the focus is very much on the immediate situation, the bigger challenge is, once the debris is cleared, to ensure that help is here for years.
Government comes in, charity donations come in, support is provided in the short term, but there's so much long-term pain, and if I've learned anything from Bega, I'm not going to let that happen here.
But there are some reservations about rebuilding in such a flood-prone location where insurance is not an option.
We need to move to Janelle.
We need to move it. Let's lift the town and move it up higher, because we really cannot live on a knife's edge like this.
It's a conversation that comes up sometimes in Lismore. What do we do in the CBD? Do some of us go elsewhere? I said that breaks my heart even thinking about it.
In a place that has already endured so much.
The whole city's traumatised, and the confidence of people. People have been through floods before, and they are tough, Yeah. But even those tough people had it. They were stretched,
Lismore's a beautiful town. I absolutely love it, and it will come back, but there's going to be a lot of heartache and it's a long road. It's going to be a long road, but we will get there.